This podcast contains paid advertisements, but more on that later. Welcome to the O'Connor Bootstrap podcast, where I discuss how you can grow your business by the bootstraps. This applies to everyone with an entrepreneurial spirit. That includes bootstrappers just starting out, established business owners, and business leaders. My goal is to help you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Isaiah O'Connor. Today's sponsor is Audible.com. Stories that speak to you. Audible.com is the world's largest collection of audio content, including audio books, podcasts, college-level lectures, and of course, Audible originals. I love them because I am a busy guy. I don't have a lot of time to sit down and read, and reading is so important to the businessman and the entrepreneur, and just important in general. And if you don't have time to sit down and read, then Audible is the place for you, because you can download books and college courses and podcasts and listen to them when you do have time. Be that cleaning the kitchen, driving around in your car, driving to a client, driving to work, etc. Great way to consume the books that you need to consume and keep up, while at the same time not eating into your precious minutes throughout the day. And the book I recommend today is called The Story Brand by Donald Miller, or Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. It is a wonderful book about how to brand yourself in such a way that people remember and care about it, because you tell a story with your brand, because people like stories. We are built on listening to stories. Historically, stories were very important to cultures, and even now, we love our stories. That is part of the reason why movies and TV are so popular, because a well-done TV show, a well-done movie, tells a great story. So if you can tell a great story with your company, you will get more customers and more loyal customers as well. So go check it out on Audible, the Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And of course, you can get your free copy at www.audible.com/bootstrap with a capital B. That's www.audible.com/bootstrap with a capital B to get your free 30-day trial. You get 1 audio book and 2 Audible originals for free, and you get to listen to their entire listening library for the entire month of your trial. There is no commitment. You can cancel at any time, but if you're like me, I doubt you will want to. It's only $14.95 a month for the full service, and it's amazing. So go check them out. So today I'm going to be talking about marketing and sales, but kind of in the inverse. There's a quote by a guy named David I can't pronounce his Ogilvy. Can't pronounce his name. His name will be in the show notes. Sorry about that. But this guy said this: great marketing only makes a bad product fail faster. And here's the question: are you great at marketing? Are you good at marketing? Do you have a great marketing strategy? That's very good. It's better than not having a marketing strategy and not being successful. The problem comes is if your product or service that you're selling is bad or not good or not up to snuff, then you will fail even quicker, which would be a bad thing. So if your business is not doing good, if you're not being successful, if you're running into a lot of roadblocks, and you keep increasing your marketing efforts, and every time you do, things just get worse, perhaps you need to evaluate your product or your service and see if that may be the problem. If it is the problem, then you need to fix that. If your product is bad, if it's not going out very nicely, if it's not going out with a good consistent quality, then you need to fix that. You need to stop the marketing for a while and fix your product and service and bring it up to snuff. What you want is a great product and a great marketing plan. The combination of the two will make you wildly successful. But if you fail at either of the two, then you will also fail. So in order to beat that, you have to look and see why your product's failing, or your service for that matter, and fix it. Now, what are some key ways your product will fail? First, I've done a whole episode, is quality control. If your product does not go out and perform as promised every single time, like clockwork, you will have a problem, or within reasonable amount. For example, I did mention this in my quality control episode, that if you have a product such as balloons and you're making hundreds of thousands a day, you might be able to get away with a couple hundred failures. But it's on a percentage basis. You have to cut down the failures as low as possible. So you need to look at what type of steps you can make to bring in the quality, make sure that you don't have failures. Another thing is consistency, which quality control is a part of, but it's more than just quality control. You have to put things in place to make sure that you get the same results every single time. For example, the restaurant business. I've worked in a few restaurants, and there's two big failures and successes in two different types of restaurants. I've worked at mom and pop shop restaurants, single owner, small little local eating place, and I've also worked for big corporate restaurants as well. And one of the big differences, and the reason why the big corporate restaurants are big, is they have systems in place to make sure the customer gets a very consistent experience no matter what. Love them or hate them, McDonald's excels at this. You buy McDonald's burger in Norway, you go to the States, it's the same. You go to California, it's the same as it is in Florida, as it is in Denver. It's across the board the same food. It tastes the same. You get exactly the same experience, more or less. Of course, there's always going to be some differences, but the overall experience is going to be very uniform and very even and very predictable, which is what you want in your product or service. You want to be predictable. When people hire you, you want them to know that they're going to get the best, and it's going to be the best every single time. If you do a great job the first time, and then you do an okay job, and then you do a great job, and then you do a horrible job, and then you do a great job, and the customer can never predict how you're going to do, that's going to be bad for business. It will be horrible for you in the long run because you will fail. Another example, back to the restaurants, is I've worked at restaurants, and I've been to restaurants where the food tastes different depending on who's cooking it, because they have no set methods, no set instructions or preparation or whatever it takes to make sure that food comes out consistently every single time. And a restaurant that cannot produce food that tastes the same on a consistent basis goes away very quickly. This is part of the reason why restaurants fail at an alarming rate. Restaurants fail so quickly. I've lived here in Norway for about 9 years or so, more or less. And in that time, I've lost track of how many restaurants I've seen come and go, just on the main street, just in 9 years. One restaurant location has changed restaurants 3 or 4 times in 9 years. So restaurants are tough business, and I'm probably going to do a whole podcast only on that alone. But one of the main problems with these restaurants is they cannot keep a consistent taste in the food. They don't provide a consistent experience to the customers. And because of this, the customers come in and they leave just as quickly and they don't come back. Another problem that can make your product fail is cutting corners, doing things cheaply, and making it so that because you cut so many corners and you do things as cheaply as possible, the end product is just no good. When you cut too many quarters, it can come back to bite you. Schlitz beer, if that's how you pronounce it, is a grand example of this. The beer company that went under used to be well known for its cheap beer that they produce in huge amounts. The problem was they cut so many corners that it eventually started producing really bad beer with weird slime in it, just gross, nasty, disgusting stuff. And it's because they didn't take the time to make the product correctly. And that's the problem. If you cut corners to save time, to save money, then that can come back to bite you in the behind in the long run. So if your product's bad because you start using bad materials, if you use a cheaper material that doesn't quite do the job, if you rush through a job, if you decide not to take steps to make things work, then again, that will reduce the quality of your product. Again, a lot of this is a repeat to my quality control podcast. And that's a big part of it. Basically, you have to have good quality control. Another thing is, you got to make sure your product's really a good product, especially for your market. If you are marketing something that people will not like or will not buy, that's another problem with a bad product. For example, you might be trying to market a product to a customer base that will not want it. For just an extreme example, it's not a very smart idea to try to market pork rinds to a Jewish or Muslim community. If you don't know, both of these communities don't eat pork. They feel that eating pork is a sin. So the product might be a good product, but being marketed to the wrong audience, and that might be your problem. So you don't want to market to the wrong audience either, because, again, it might be a great product. Pork rinds might be a great product. You might have a great new flavor, a new recipe, but you have to make sure you go to the right market to market, because if you're marketing the right product to the wrong market, you'll fail. Again, you have to make sure your product is a good enough product to market. And make sure that you're always improving your product, of course. That's another way businesses fail, is they stop working on their product. Perhaps they make a great product and it's great and it's kind of everlasting in a sense of you really can't change it because it's perfect or near perfect. That's fine, but you should still work on that and or come up with ways to offer different variants of it or whatever to make sure that people don't get bored with your product. Again, if it's a great product, great service, and you just need to be really good at marketing and being clever at it, great. But sometimes you do need to update your market with the times. And I don't have a direct example of this off the top of my head, but let's just take the video game industry. Can you imagine anybody who didn't update their gaming console in the industry? Say, for example, Sony or Microsoft decide to stop updating and upgrading the product, and they just left it at the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1, and they never continued to upgrade or improve their product while everyone else around them did. How many people would want a PlayStation 1 these days when they have an Xbox 360 or whatever game console you wish? It wouldn't work. So sometimes people don't update their products, and their formerly great product gets demoted to an okay product, which gets demoted to an outdated product, which gets demoted to a bad product fairly quickly if they don't update and continually correct and fix their products. Because you do need to continue to work on your product and promote it, etc. So you have to make sure your product stays with the times, otherwise you'll get left in the dust. So just to wrap up, as I said, great marketing only makes a bad product fail faster. So before you start on a wild, crazy marketing plan, before you get a really great marketing scheme, drop a whole bunch of money on ads and just really push it. If your product is horrible, make sure you got to make a great product, because if you don't have a great product, then you're going to waste all your money on a great marketing scheme. Everyone's going to try your product, hate your product, and then you will go out of business in short order. Anyway, just remember, work on getting your product fixed. And the key, again, I'll get back to this. The key is make sure your product provides the value you promise, or provides more than the value you promise. And if you can do that, then you market it well and you'll be highly successful. Just make sure your product provides the best value for the money, and you'll be okay. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. If you found value in this content, please leave a comment and give us a 5-star rating on whichever podcast platform you use. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, and most other podcast platforms. If you would like to support us, you can check out our sponsor links, or if you'd like to support us directly, you can donate or join our membership program at buymeacoffee.com/bootstrap. Of course, it really helps when you share these podcasts with your friends as well. If you'd like to interact with me and other bootstrappers and leaders, you can join us over at our O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast Facebook group. You have been listening to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast, an Atheoz Business Solutions podcast. For a companion podcast, the Atheoz Business Podcast, which is hosted by Jason St. Clair, past episodes and related blogs, please check out our website at www.atheoz.com, which is at www.atheoz.com or theoz.com. Until next time, I have been your friendly neighborhood entrepreneur, Isaiah O'Connor.